guys, my name is EnART and welcome to this video. Honestly, this is the first time I'm doing this kind of video podcast. Usually I prefer not to talk at all, but let's see how it works out. Today I was thinking that we should talk about artistic legacy. This is something that always occupies my thoughts. And while we're talking about that, you will see me sketching this quite random architectural elevation that turned out to be something very, very abstract. I've been drawing for 9 years now, and some of the questions that I've been asked quite a lot are: how did I become an artist? Or was there any starting point? Or is there an inborn talent or gift? Well, there's a quote from the French movie Untouchables that I think describes my passion for art just perfectly. It goes something like, why do you think people are so interested in art? That's because it's the only thing one leaves behind. The thing is, as human beings, we tend to be a tad arrogant. We believe in the concept of afterlife because the very thought of us just disappearing from the face of the earth is simply unbearable. And as a human being who is also an artist and an architect, I tend to be even more arrogant. The idea of leaving something behind, something that people can praise, enjoy, exhibit, sell and resell, even after I'm gone, it brings me some kind of comfort. It makes me feel like I will not fall into oblivion. Thinking about our legacy is quite common actually. It is basically a part of the human condition. However, in the age of social media, in the age where someone around the world can see and like and even buy your work, in the age where you're one of the thousands other artists as skilled as you are or even better, in the age where entrepreneur, influencer, or YouTuber are actual occupations that bring actual income, what is the legacy? And what does creating a legacy mean? I'm obsessed with the question of unknown. What will survive of us? To recall the quote from Untouchables, one of the few reasons we know about the people who lived in the dawn of the history is through art they left behind. And this brings another question. Will our future civilizations, or maybe even aliens, learn about us through our artworks? And if yes, will they judge us by the work of such contemporary artists as Mark Bradford or Akashi Murakami, or perhaps by the work of one of the most popular Instagram and TikTok artists, Devon Rodriguez? And whose art will survive? Whose art will define our times? Recently, I've read a story in one of the articles on the internet. I think it was a story from some art history textbook, and it told about a Victorian artist who was the most popular painter of his day. But do we know anything about him? No, I don't even care enough to mention his name. However, we know so much about Monet, Cézanne, Renoir, and especially the one who died poor, believing himself to be an artistic failure, Van Gogh. Therefore, these were the artists whose work defined their age. And what about our age? How do we shape our legacy? The ones who follow me on social media know that I'm a big fan of giveaways. I truly believe in kindness of human nature, even though we see so little of it these days. And I strongly believe that a simple act of kindness can sparkle another. I enjoy giving away my artworks or surprise people with customized portraits because I know how much it makes them happy. But also, one of the main reasons why I give away my work is to leave something behind. The very thought that so many people, so many of you actually, have my work at their house, in their rooms at this very moment, makes me feel extremely happy. It makes me feel like I have contributed to my own legacy. Even after I'm gone, I should only hope that my artwork will live on. While trying to interpret the term artistic legacy from my own perspective, I also did some research. I asked some of my friends who are filmmakers, graphic illustrators, visual artists, what does artistic legacy mean to them? So one of them had a very interesting point. He suggested that the art piece itself is not really a legacy, but only a tool. So in order to explain his point, my friend proposed to look at the history of art, at the artists and what they're best known for. For example, if we go back to the 20th century, one of the most recognized painters at that time was of course Pablo Picasso. Picasso used his imagination creating abstract works and exploring form and structure of his paintings. Without a doubt, Picasso's technique is one of the most famous around the world due to its uniqueness. Eventually, it made a massive difference in the art world we know right now. His works are one of the most desired and in-demand subjects in many forums, art galleries, and exhibits. However, at a young age, he painted in a completely different technique. For example, his early work of Old Fisherman is quite realistic and doesn't follow this distinctive and distorted style of Picasso's later work. The childhood trauma, the loss of his sister, and later the loss of his friend caused this dramatic change in his artwork. So, when you think of Picasso, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Any specific art piece, or maybe even the name of that art piece? Personally, when I think of Picasso and his work, what comes to my mind is this weird, we might say it's weird and abstract style. I think of how he painted not what he saw, but rather what he thought and imagined. I think of those distorted faces that he depicted in one of his art pieces called Guernica, that came down as the most powerful anti-war painting in the history. He tried to express the hardships and the struggling of the Basque people, the bombing in Guernica during the Spanish Civil War in 1937. Or I think of his art during his Blue period, which started after one of his friends committed suicide. His paintings contain different shades and tones of blue, and often depicted Picasso's friend in different scenes and scenarios. It is widely known that Pablo Picasso wasn't a very good person, but we can all agree that he was a great painter. So the whole point of this theory that my friend suggested is that by the example of Pablo Picasso, a true genius, we can assume that each artist leaves more than an art piece behind. They leave their practice, their artistic journey, their emotions, their hardships and struggling, and of course their knowledge for the future generations to learn from. So the art piece that we leave behind is nothing but a medium that carries our legacy for the years to come. The knowledge and experience is the goal that should be achieved and carried on as a legacy, not a painting or a sculpture or any other kind of artwork. Honestly, at the end of the day, all we can do is just hope that this ripple effect of our actions, our kindness, our generosity, our love, the opportunities that we were given or gave the others, create waves and go far beyond our side. We should just trust that they carry our best intentions wherever they go. What comes after, whatever is made of our efforts, when we're gone, all we have is our legacy and how our actions affected those surrounded us. So yeah, I think that's the end of my long speech about artistic legacy. It was my first ever video podcast, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you listened till this moment, thank you so much. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like or comment. If you didn't enjoy it, also let me know in the comment section. Maybe I can improve somehow for the next video. Again, thank you so much for listening. I really hope you're having a great summer. So I will see you in the next video, and have a good day.